My name is Tony, and I'm here to read you 3 stories. Hot stories. Grand Canyon. I remember looking down at my new Solomon boots. They were light, modern, and blue. Running shoes to tackle the unknown. My favorite kind. I just loved them. What I didn't love was the heat. It was as if someone had left the burner on and forgot to turn it off. I'm talking about the wind being hot, burning air being moved around you, that gruesome feeling like you're melting. I was afraid the soles of my new boots would leave strands of molten plastic behind me. I am a runner. When this story took place, I had just run the Boston Marathon and was ready for a bigger challenge. I was going for a big run in the Grand Canyon, a lifetime dream of mine. Sometimes, chasing dreams is more difficult than it seems. That trip was close to being the last run of my life. The silent killer tried to, but couldn't, add my name to an endless list of dead athletes. But let's go back. Before any of those macabre events started happening, the beginning of the trip was mind-blowing. The Grand Canyon was exactly what I imagined it would be. The crimson red lines on the walls, the eroded pink stone, soft as velvet, and the tiny rays of sun that made it through the gaps above us and we could see as beams with the dust of our running shoes. I felt like I was in a dream. You know how it goes. You've seen it a million times in movies, played with all those images in your head so much. It's all mixed into a fantasy. Half of it was real, half my imagination. After we made it out the first cave, I was covered in sweat. I looked at my smartwatch, and the temperature was 104 degrees. Okay, gather up, group. Listen to me. We just came out of the first cave system. We'll run through 3 of those today. I know. Amazing, isn't it? Well, we're doing the longest part of our run. It's going to be 10 miles to the next cave formation. Now, remember, this is a deserted area. You need to take care. Protect your head, put on some sunblock, and stay hydrated. If you need anything, you can ask me. Any questions? I had just short of a gallon of water left, and I thought that was quite enough for the distance. I mean, I had completed the Boston Marathon with half as much water. Well, as it turns out, July in the desert is just a different game altogether. Soon after we made it out of the cave, I saw everyone stopping for water every 15 minutes. I'm a marathonist, I thought. These people are as amateur as they get. I kept on running, trying to get ahead of the group to have a nice advantage. To be honest, I was already feeling my heart racing and my skin getting cold by that moment. It was as if my entire body was shivering and shaking as I ran. But it was all behind that feeling of joy being faster than the pack generated in me. It's just something every runner wants. I was smiling as the warm air hit me right in the face and the dazzling sun burned my skin. Suddenly, the guide caught up with me. You should drink more water. We're in the desert. Join us every break or you'll have heat exhaustion, or worse. Sorry, I'm a marathon runner. I think you should pay extra attention to the rest of the runners. I got this. Please, listen to me. Heat stroke is not a joke. You could be killed. I just wish those words were enough, but I was cocky, arrogant, desperate to be better. I wasn't blinded by passion so much as some kind of runner's greed, if such a thing existed. Soon, I had left them all behind, following the well-marked trail on my own. My heart started racing faster than I was, and sweat was pouring out of me like a storm. My clothes were drenched in salty water, and the road ahead of me seemed infinite. The views were breathtaking. The dream was real, but my heartbeat became a worry. I stopped for some water, and suddenly I felt a little suffocated. I felt heat was coming from inside my body, reaching the bottom of my skull. I became a little dizzy and lost my balance, forcing me to sit down for a moment. Once sitting, I felt nauseated and threw up the little food I had earlier that day. I looked around and there wasn't a single tree to use as shelter from the sun. I'm a marathonist, I thought again, and gathered up all my strength to stand up. I started running again. In my head, I was trying to find a tree to wait for the group. I guess it was the moment heat really got to me because my thinking started to become erratic. I kind of remember the idea of a shortcut popped into my head like I was certain of it. I remember the certainty behind the thought so well. I was absolutely sure I knew a shortcut to a shady spot. In my head, there was an oasis I was running towards, a safe place with a water pond that I could submerge in. I put all the strength I had left on that idea and ran off the path until, I guess I just fell on the ground. My heart felt like it was about to work itself to death. My head was pounding. I tried to pick my body up, but it just was not possible. I was too heavy, too tired, and too hot to do anything. I felt that was the breaking point. I needed help or I would die. I rolled over my back and I could see birds circling on top of me under the confusingly bright sun. It was beautiful but doomed. The words from the guide came back into my mind, repeating like a mantra. You could be killed. And this is it, I thought. Suddenly, a splash of cool water fell on me. Ugh. Someone lifted me up their shoulder. I'm a marathonist, I kept mumbling as I was being carried away. A helicopter took me to the hospital where they did dialysis to save my kidneys and managed to lower my body temperature before it was too late. Extreme heat, the silent killer, couldn't take me anywhere. I still run, but never too far from the asphalt, the hospitals, and my home. Don't be as stupid as I was. Be careful out there. Heat is becoming deadlier by the minute. Mommy doesn't know I'm a spy.
The heat wave continues to punish the East Coast, and temperatures above 105 degrees are expected today. Traffic is calm, moderate wind is blowing from the east, and the LA Lakers beat the Sacramento Kings 102-99 last night. This is news in half a minute on your favorite broadcaster, KROQ 109.
I turned on the radio in the front seat to keep me company. Mom left for the supermarket. I know I shouldn't be here, but I hate it when I have to stay home with Toby. He hides my toys, and when I tell Aunt Martha, who always looks after us, he gets away with it. Being 5 when your brother is 7 is hard. But today, I'm a spy on a secret mission to get away from Toby. I always sneak inside Mommy's car. It's easy because she's always juggling with her purse, bags, and phone. I just wait for the right moment, jump inside, and hide behind the passenger seat. But I'm bored. There's nothing to do here, and this whole car is so hot. I don't have anything but this stupid doll to play with. And I think this car is getting hotter because my dress is getting all wet. I hate when that happens. It looks bad. Where's Mom? Come on, Mommy, hurry up. It's too hot here.
It's been 10 days since the brutal heat wave started hitting the east side of the United States. The government issued a heat alert this morning that will affect 100 million people from Miami to Maine. The relief the country needs is still not in sight. Rain and a consequent temperature drop are not expected for this week. For KROQ 109, your weather specialist, Ken Junes.
I don't know how to unlock the car, so I guess I'm gonna have to wait. Plus, Mom always told me that a little girl like me shouldn't be alone outside or talk to strangers, so I'm not getting out of the car. It would have been great if she could have parked it under a roof or something, though. The sun is so hot today. Wait, do I have a fever? I feel kind of dizzy. Maybe it's from not sleeping. Last night, the heat was so bad, I barely fell asleep at all. I found that heat makes everything just hard or just, more annoying. I don't feel like playing so much when I'm like this. I mean, I want to, but I'm just too tired and sleepy. I want to nap all day. I'm lying down in the car's back seat now. Mom says it was made for me. I'm just the perfect fit. Plus, I'm not sweating anymore. Everything around me feels soft and it's spinning. It's like riding a merry-go-round.
Urgent. Last bulletin. Massive heat warnings have been issued for Philadelphia, Washington, Baltimore, Southeast Virginia, and North Carolina. This is the highest level of alert. I repeat, the highest level of alert. The highs in this area could reach the triple-digit territory. If we add the humidity to the equation, heat will probably feel like 105 or even 110 around noon today. This was an urgent alert by your weather specialist Ken Junes for KROQ 109.
My eyelids are heavy and I feel dizzy, but also about to fall asleep. I need to sleep, but I don't want to. I have a hard time keeping my eyes open, though. I'm gonna sing. That'll keep me awake. Wait, what's that noise? What? Who are you? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. No, I can't open the door. I'm sorry. My mom will be right back. I see tiny dots. Tiny dots of light. They're more and more. I think I can't hold it anymore. Now everything's black. I don't want to sleep. I want to wait for you, Mommy. I love you, Mommy. Something like a waterfall of shiny drops falls all over me. It's shattered glass. Why did this man break the window? Oh, Mommy's gonna be mad at you. I try to sit down, but I cough and shake. Everything feels numb. Oh no, I'm about to throw up. I don't want to do it on the seats. Oh, Mommy's gonna be mad at me too, but I can't help it. A big man dressed in white leans towards me. Where am I? Where are they taking me? Oh, I want my Mommy. Hello, stranger. Are you taking me on a secret mission? I'm a spy. Shush, honey. Save your strength. Where's Mommy? Does she know you're here? She's in the supermarket. You have to help me clean the seat. I'm a spy. She's gonna be so mad at me, but I'm a spy. Who are you? Are you an angel or are you a bad guy? I'm a paramedic, sweetie. I'm going to put this mask on you and you'll fall asleep. But don't worry, we'll take you to a safe place. I'm awake now. Mommy's here with me. This room is too white, but it looks nice. The bed's nice. I hope Mommy's not too mad for what I did.
A little girl was rescued from a vehicle yesterday. Apparently, she was playing spy and hiding inside her mother's car. Carolyn Bruner, 34, was at the supermarket and learned only after her child was rescued that anything had happened. The girl was saved by a family. One of their children heard her talking to herself inside the car, and they called 911. The paramedics acted on time, and she suffered no serious injuries or consequent events after the episode. The devastating heat wave hitting the East Coast has taken the lives of 34 people so far, and temperatures are expected to stay on the rise. Maximum caution is advised for those leaving their homes today. Stay hydrated and avoid heat exposure for long periods. This was the Morning Bulletin. You're listening to KROQ 109, your weather station. I'm Ken Junes wishing you a good day. Stay safe.
The Whistle of the Woods. My family had owned that cabin for generations. In fact, my granddad's name was written in the foundational document in the town hall. My family was a big part of the town's history. Everybody knew who I was, and honestly, felt kind of cool. I grew up spending entire summers there. The forest was like a second home to the teenage version of myself. I had played in it for countless hours. Being back in that place, but with my own family, was like going full circle. It felt like plenitude. I was fulfilling my dreams. My husband was, after all, the man I always wished for. What I had no idea about was that he was also going to be the one saving my life. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here telling you this story. How did he do it? Well, I have no idea, but he did, and I'm forever thankful for it. But back to the cabin. We were there for the holidays. It was a beautiful day in a particularly sunny July, and the woods were whistling their usual melody. I was always amazed and intrigued by the secrets whispered by the wind to the leaves. The house was on a little hill with no big trees close. They were all chopped to make the cabin. They were always there, surrounding and protecting us. I had gotten up kind of late, not too long before noon. My only goal was to sit by the sunlight to read my book. I'd been working on my tan for a lifetime, being the descendant of a Dutch family. It was the ideal life until that morning. Two things happened that fatedic morning that changed it all. The first was that I ran out of sunblock. The second was that the water pump broke down. We were 5 miles away from the town, completely isolated. The only road leading there was in very bad condition, and it took at least 15 minutes to reach civilization by car. I told my husband not to worry about it. It had happened many times before. I was going to fix it. So he headed into the forest to look for lumber to make coffee for breakfast. I quit my plans immediately, and I got on the roof to work on the cables. Once I got there, I realized the sun was dazzling, and I had no water or sunscreen. I felt my skin was being pierced by the sun's rays. I started sweating so much I thought I was going to be electrocuted with so much water coming out of me. An hour or two went by the time I had finally lifted enough tiles, fixed enough holes, gone through half the roof, and found the faulty part of the cables. Couldn't believe it. They were molten. This had never happened before that day. How hot does it have to be for cables to melt under the sun? Suddenly I felt agitated, as if I was gasping for air. Every breath I took seemed to have less effect than the previous one. A cold rush went through my body and shook me from head to toe. Suddenly, I was cold. I had heard about the heat wave on our way to the cabin, but I thought I knew better than the forecast specialist on the radio. I'd been there many, many times before. Overlooking that warning almost became my death sentence. I remember feeling clumsy. I had a hard time putting one foot after the other to go back down. The ladder was steep, but it never felt that hard. When I tried to put it back, I couldn't remember where I had taken it from. Suddenly, I had also forgotten why we were in the cabin and not at home. It felt strange. It felt as if I was somehow lost for a moment. I felt nauseated, and I threw up in the bathroom. I opened the tap, but we had no water. The pump was broken, and the tank was, therefore, empty. The clumsiness turned into dizziness, and I stumbled outside the cabin. I tried shouting my husband's name with all the strength I had left, which wasn't much. I couldn't make a sound. I couldn't think straight. Everything around me was weird, and I lost balance. It felt as if the ground was moving. My heart was beating so fast I had the feeling I was going to lose grip on reality. A single golden thread of consciousness was holding me on the sane side. The grass under my body felt like a soft caress on my skin. Flashbacks of my life as a teenager wandering and running around the forest came before my eyes. I could clearly see the smiles of my friends and the scent of the wood around me. The last thing I remember seeing was his eyes, clear as the blue sky, as he picked me up from the ground, screaming something I couldn't make out. He ran the entire 5 miles, carrying me on his shoulders to get me to the hospital. The doctor who saved my life was my pediatrician, who was then 77 years old. He had taken care of my sore knees from climbing trees, and yet almost resurrected me that noon. That summer, besides what happened to me, we suffered a huge forest fire. Experts say that it was the drought, the extreme temperatures, and the relentless wind. The cabin is gone, and the forest is gone too. But I think after playing with those ancient trees for so many years that they still whispered in my ears and look after me. Perhaps it was them who told my husband to get back to the cabin, that I was in danger. I like to think that, but I guess I'll never know.